I'm Bo Maddox.
I'm Robert Ortegon.
I'm Ashley Chancellor.
I'm Dakota Chancellor.
And Captain Nostalgia.
This is Collateral Cinema.
Welcome to Collateral Cinema, the only movie podcast that matters, where we focus on good movies, bad movies, and everything else in between in the world of cinema. We are podcasting straight from San Antonio, Texas, and yes, my friends, we are a 420 friendly podcast, so whatever you have, be it blunts, bongs, dabs, joints, smoke it if you've got it.
Oh yeah.
Happy holidays, everybody.
Merry Christmas, Happy New Year.
Oh, yeah.
Joyous Kwanzaa, everybody.
Happy Kwanzaa.
Happy Hanukkah, happy Kwanzaa, all of that, whatever you celebrate, or if you don't celebrate anything, have a happy day.
Happy 420 Eve, then.
Yeah, so we have a new Skype guest star today named Captain Nostalgia. Do you want to introduce yourself?
What's going on, guys?
Hey, man. What's going on, man?
Yeah, he's from the Victims and Villains podcast. Why don't you tell us a little bit about your podcast real quick?
Sure, can do that. So our podcast is really unique in that we are the marriage between pop culture and suicide prevention. So we create content that meets people at their passions, whether it is movies, whether it's comics or television or music. But we do it with the heart to let them know that they have value and worth. And we want to be hope to those that are struggling with suicide and depression.
That is really, really awesome, man.
Yeah, fuck yeah, dude. Mental health is so important
It's
today.
a big issue.
Yeah, especially in our culture, you know.
Yeah.
And it's really good to see a lot of people coming out and recognizing that and making attempts to, you know, outreach. I'm really, really proud of our culture for kind of, you know, finally putting an emphasis on that.
Yeah.
And I think that's going to be particularly poignant this episode. Don't you guys think?
I would say so. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
For our holiday special, we picked a perennial Christmas favorite, and that is How the Grinch Stole Christmas, specifically the 2000 version directed by Ron Howard and featuring Jim Carrey.
Man, I love Jim Carrey movies, and honestly, I love Christmas movies. I mean, I'm kind of a sucker for Christmas, even as an atheist, to tell the truth.
Even the Hallmark Christmas movies.
I could totally watch that shit.
Christmas isn't really a Christian holiday anyway, so...
Yeah, well...
It's more of a pagan holiday. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, right.
Captain Nostalgia, what do you think about The Grinch?
I had forgotten how much I loved this movie until I sat down to watch it for this podcast.
Oh, yeah.
I love the energy that Jim Carrey brings to this role, and I tweeted this out last night that there's a scene in particular where he's in the mail room, and I just wanted to go watch Man on the Moon, which is probably my favorite Jim Carrey movie.
Oh, man.
Because
Andy Kaufman, yeah, dude.
Andy Kaufman and his alter ego Tony, the lounge singer, like
what was his last name?
Oh, fuck, I forgot that.
I can't remember.
Tony Clifton.
Tony Clifton. There we go.
Clifton.
Yeah,
exactly.
Tony Clifton. Yeah, there's a particular scene where you can, like, if you listen really closely and you've seen that movie, it is Tony Clifton, dude. And I'm like, yes, I need to rewatch this movie.
Yeah.
To a T, dude. He does that very well.
Yeah, he was in full character in the behind the scenes of that movie.
Yeah.
So
yes.
The original cast of Taxi, yeah, dude, that was fucking amazing, dude.
I was.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a while since I've seen this movie as well. I definitely grew up with it. You know, it's one of those movies that was shown every Christmas, but I guess it's been a few years, and rewatching it this time, really, I was impressed with several things, and we'll get into that. Of course, you know, How the Grinch Stole Christmas is based on Dr. Seuss's 1957 book of the same name. We're all familiar with the story. You know, it's, you know, about the Grinch who attempts to steal Christmas because he hates Christmas and he hates joy. Of course, there have been a couple other adaptations in particular, one of them being the animated special back in 1966, I believe.
The original story.
Yeah, it had That had Boris Karloff narrating it, right?
Boris Karloff, yeah. I
Yeah.
remember growing up with that one as well. You know, watching both this one, the live action and the animated. Of course, the live action to me as a kid was always cooler because it was longer and there was more to it. But never forget the classics. And never forget, you know,
Where it all came from, all the original, the roots.
Yeah, yeah, man. I mean that's so original. I love the original story.
it's such a deep story too. If you look into Dr. Seuss's stories, they all have messages, you know, political or otherwise. And you know, really as an adult, you realize that more. You know, obviously the Lorax is about environmentalism,
Of course.
and the Grinch is about, you know, consumerism and materialism. And I really think that that's poignant in today's culture. Don't you guys think?
Absolutely, especially with everything that's going on, you know. Well, we have impeachment processes going on with our president. I mean, if there's anything, right?
Don't we know it?
Oh yeah, happy impeachment day, everybody.
there you go.
We're celebrating another holiday today. That's Impeachment Day. Happy Impeachment Day.
It's a national holiday now, I guess.
I guess if you don't know, we're recording on December 19th, the day that, you know, it happened. So
Yeah.
Yeah, well, we'll not go too much into that. But yeah, definitely the animated special in 1966 is one to remember. And of course, more recently, there was the 2018 movie simply titled The Grinch.
Oh yeah, that was Benedict Cumberbatch, right?
Yeah, the 3D animated feature film with Benedict Cumberbatch. I haven't seen that one. Have you? Any of y'all seen it?
No,
I haven't seen that.
I haven't
I
seen it, but doesn't
have.
Pharrell Williams narrate it? I am pretty
Yes.
sure he's the narrator.
I
Hold on,
think
let me pull it
so.
up.
Damn. That's interesting. Pharrell Williams, really?
Yeah, he's the narrator.
seen
That's what it says right here. Pharrell
Yeah.
Williams narrator voice.
Well, what do you think, Cap? Can I call you Cap?
Yeah, go for it.
All right.
I actually,
Oh,
my
yeah.
wife and I sat down to watch it earlier in the season, and it's streaming on Netflix now. So if you guys have Netflix, it's like a little less than an hour and a half, and it's like more like the Grinch's like day-to-day life, like leading up to Christmas.
Right.
So it's got its moments, but it's not as like memorable as this one here. So it has that forgetfulness aspect of it as well.
Yeah, that's definitely the vibes that I got from it. And I haven't seen it, but I did a little bit of reading up, especially in research for the podcast. And all around, I heard people say it's not bad, but it's not really groundbreaking. It doesn't really stand above this movie, or I guess justify its own existence.
Yeah.
And
Well, it is an Illumination movie, so I mean, take from that what you will.
Right.
You know?
okay, yeah.
Well, I think when I saw the trailer, I just wanted to go back to the original, you know,
Yeah.
the old cartoon, the Jim Carrey movie.
Right.
Just-
Watch it with a grain of salt.
exactly, man. Just remember how it was for what it was, right?
I'm such a huge fan of Benedict Cumberbatch, and I really think that, you know, just based on the clips I've seen, he's completely underutilized. Because, I mean, using that Smaug voice, he could make an excellent Grinch, and
Oh, yeah.
they completely dropped the ball, I guess, with that. Because, you know, in the clips I've seen, he just sounds like a normal bloke. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, more or less.
But, you know, we'll probably have some other time to mention other movies. Today's focus is, of course, on the 2000 live-action feature film,
Jim Carrey.
which is actually the first full-length feature film adaptation of a Dr. Seuss book ever.
That's good to know.
Oh yeah,
I wasn't aware of that.
right after that was like Mike Myers' Cat in the Hat.
Oh,
Remember that,
Cat
dude?
in the Hat.
He's like,
That
oh, you
movie's
messed that.
terrible.
You-
We shall not speak of it.
We
Like,
shall not
dude,
speak of
no,
that
you're
movie.
trying to create the Grinch again. It's not going to happen.
That's what they were trying to do, because he
Yeah.
even looked like him, the cat. Like
Yeah.
they even tried to make him look like Jim Carrey's
No,
character. It was
no,
just,
you're
it was
right.
a bad
It
idea.
was, it was another Whoville with like a bunch
It
of
was.
things,
It was
dude.
another Whoville.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
Horton Hears a Who. That was another movie. I think that was an animated movie, though, right? Yeah.
3D animated.
That was actually pretty good. And it was another Whoville set, you know, area.
And the Lorax.
And the Lorax.
It's like you're not
And those
gonna-
were good movies.
The
you're not
Lorax
gonna-
was really good, yeah.
Yeah.
It's like you're not going to recreate
You're
the
not gonna-
Grinch.
not with the Cat in the Hat.
That
You
would-
can't.
no,
You can't do that. Jim
'cause
Carrey blows it away.
That was kind of a knockoff. Even I mean, Mike Myers, respect him for what he is and what he does, but
Dakota
Yeah.
Fanning was in that.
she was.
Yeah.
that's right, she
Alec
was.
Baldwin. Mike
Oh,
Myers.
no, you're right.
Baldwin.
Bald, the shadow. Dude.
Yeah.
That guy's in everything. Dude.
Okay, he
Everything.
was also in Thomas and the Magic Railroad, so...
Oh God, yeah. Again, you got to take it with a grain of salt.
Sparkle, sparkle, sparkle.
Sparkle, sparkle, yeah, fuck
Damn.
yeah, sparkle, motherfucker.
Thomas. in the Magic
Somebody's
Railroad.
been watching their nostalgia critic. God damn it.
But yeah, I mean, I definitely think... I mean, what do you guys think separates this live-action adaptation of The Grinch?
Jim Carrey.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
His performance alone just like steals the whole movie.
No, you're right.
From what the cartoon was before that, because that's all it was. It was a cartoon before that.
Yeah, it pretty much is the movie, but also his relationship with Cindy Lou Who.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Like that also was really drives the story.
So I guess Jim Carrey was the first person to bring the Grinch to life, other than the cartoon.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, pretty much.
As an actor, as a comedic actor, you know.
Yeah.
Definitely. I agree. And believe me, we'll have plenty to talk about Jim Carrey's performance. And really, I think what makes this a more deep, sympathetic character. Another, striking thing to me about this movie, and maybe you guys will agree here, is the setting. We've got this, and I can't think of a better word to describe than Seussian, kind of steampunkish setting.
There's a slight vibe.
Okay, there is, right. A Cat in the Hat takes that to a further extent, and I know what you mean. It's that steampunk weird vibe where it's like almost like you're in the 50s, but at the same time you're in this steampunk world. I don't know what's going on there.
See, the Cat in the Hat was like Tim Burton Scissorhands world, right? You know what I mean?
Okay,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
and all have these weird shaped noses. Like it's just that Whovian style.
Doesn't this feel like it could be a Tim Burton film?
It was almost
He was
you see how the town was? I'm sorry, Bo. The town was almost a Edward Scissorhand town, right?
Right.
Well, he was initially tied to direct this movie.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, it's actually really interesting how that came to be because, Theodore Geisel, Dr. Seuss himself, he did not want any type of feature films made from his work.
I was unaware of that. That's good to know.
No, but as soon as he passed away, his wife, she became the executor of his estate, and she started optioning off of some of his books, and The Grinch was pretty much one of the first ones that they optioned off.
Well, I think too that The Grinch is probably arguably the most famous of his works that he's ever done outside of maybe The Lorax and Cat in the Hat.
Agreed.
Yeah.
So
Green eggs and
makes
ham, of
sense.
course.
Oh
Yeah.
man, we all grew to love that one. Right?
Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely his most well-known work. That was amongst the first that they actually optioned.
I saw Green Eggs and Ham on Netflix.
I haven't seen that yet.
No, I haven't seen it, but like
okay.
it popped across.
Oh, yeah.
That's a thing. It's a Netflix original.
Really?
Yeah.
I read the book in first grade, and then our first grade teacher made Green Eggs and Ham, and we all had it.
Whose
I
first grade
did that-
teacher didn't make Green Eggs and Ham?
Seriously,
Right, honestly.
But
Yeah,
I was more of the 90s. You guys are like 2000. I'm sorry.
Do you
Okay.
remember the book? Was it The Sneetches and Other Stories? I think y'all remember that
I
one?
remember Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs before it was the movie when I was
Yeah.
But is that
first
Dr.
grade.
Seuss?
That's not Dr. Seuss.
That's
no,
not Dr.
it's
Seuss,
not. But
though.
you know what I mean. Books before like
Right.
Holes, right? You know.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Actually, reading the book when you were in school, and then now it's a real life movie, right?
Oh yeah, like
And
Great
that's something-
Gatsby.
Exactly, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. That was an English book I had to read like twice. The Great Gatsby.
Right. But do you remember the Sneetches? That's another one where we were talking about where it has this theme. This theme was actually it was against like diversity and segregation and racism. It was a big it was a big thing on that because there were different characters that had like a star on their belly versus like what was the other?
Oh,
you know what I'm
yeah,
talking
yeah,
about?
I think I do.
I don't remember if you read that book when you were young, but that one really caught my attention when I was younger
Oh, man.
because of that diversity and that.
Diversification's been going along since Star Trek and Star Wars.
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
Dr. Seuss was definitely very active in politics. Actually, he definitely, even though he told children's stories, he made his stories relevant to adult issues. And I would just love to think, to see what he would have to say during, current times, like this impeachment process. You know what I mean?
Right.
What would Dr. Seuss say about this? What book would he write about this?
Who knows?
wow. Yeah.
Honestly.
It would be crazy. Of course, the other mastermind at work here, in particular this film, and we mentioned before, the directorship having been, considered for Tim Burton, but ultimately it went to Ron Howard.
Right. What are y'all's thoughts on Ron Howard just as a whole? Like,
As a director, actor / writer.
yeah, just as a whole.
You know what? I grew up with Ron Howard.
Yeah, me too.
Since the Andy Griffith show, I watched a lot of Happy Days when he started in that.
Yeah,
But his
That's good stuff.
His first directorial debut, starring and acting, was the Grand Theft Auto movie
Really?
in
wow.
1977, dude. And that was almost like Gone in 60 Seconds.
What? They made a movie based off the game?
Yeah, that's kind of before the game.
I know.
It's kind of like him getting hitched all the way to Las Vegas, Grand Theft Auto style. That was almost like Death Race 2000, the original one with Sylvester Stallone. You know?
Yeah.
He directed a lot of stuff. He did Solo, which Ash mentioned earlier today.
Yeah, I've been rewatching that lately because I'm getting hyped up for Star Wars, which is coming out this upcoming weekend. And,
all of us.
And we're about to watch Rise of Skywalker, so I'm kind of doing my watch through right now. I just finished the prequels, and now I'm doing Solo, and then Rogue One, and then the originals, and then the sequels. So
Yeah, he's also did, what was it, The Da Vinci Code, Angels and Demons, Inferno, all those movies,
Have you guys ever seen The Cinderella Man?
The Cinderella Man. Is that something you did?
You know what I'm talking about, bro.
So good, dude.
There you go.
Yeah, that final boxing match at the end.
Yeah,
Oh,
that was a real story.
Yeah.
Adrian.
No, that's wrong movie,
That's
dude.
Rocky.
I
bro.
know,
Wrong
but,
movie.
You
man.
know, you said boxing,
Oh,
so
man.
But yeah, the direction was from that original director from 1979. But that was a real fight out of the 1930s, man. Really.
Wow.
And
You can find that on YouTube.
do you think that kind of shows through here? If you look at Ron Howard's other works, and where he takes, the direction in this adaptation, I mean, does that kind of shine through?
I think Ron Howard as a director, to me, has never really 100% stood out. I mean, he makes good movies, and he makes cinematically strong movies, but he's kind of not known for taking a whole lot of chances. And I feel that The Grinch might be the first time that we're actually seeing Ron Howard take some chances with his directorial style and with the screenplay and whatnot. That's what I think here.
Yeah, Ron Howard's always kind of been one of those directors that I feel like has diversified his voice and has made good movies, but I think at the same time he's never had that distinct style the way that Nolan does or the way that Hitchcock does or
J.J. Abrams.
J.J. Abrams.
Yeah.
Tim Burton. He's always been that kind of guy that he makes good movies, but like he's never had films that like really like stand out. Like even sitting here now, like I completely forgotten that he had directed Cinderella Man, or like The Angels and Demons. And
I'm
stuff
sorry.
like
He did A Beautiful
I know
Mind.
I know what you're saying. Like, what stood the test of time? I know what you mean, like Alfred Hitchcock. I know exactly what you're saying.
Cinderella Man.
Yeah.
That's Russell Crowe. Oh, I know that movie.
The Gladiator, bro. Yeah.
Yeah, I know that movie.
I mean, that's just what's weird about Ron Howard's work is that, I mean, you could take a look at a movie of his, just maybe 5 or 10 seconds from it, and you couldn't tell it was a Ron Howard movie unless you just knew what that movie
Unless
was.
you saw the credits, and it's like, okay.
So you're saying there's nothing really that makes him stick out versus any
No,
other?
not really.
See, J.J. Abrams was like the first Rocky and fucking, what was it, The Karate Kid? Shit like that, right?
Who was it?
J.J. Abrams.
No, he didn't do those. He didn't do those.
No, J.J. Abrams is
I fucked up.
Star Trek, the reboot series.
Yeah.
He also is doing Star Wars.
Star Wars.
Yeah.
Oh.
He did The Force Awakens, and he's doing Rise of Skywalker with Ryan Johnson doing Last Jedi.
Yeah, he's the only one. He's the one who's keeping it together.
Jesus.
He's keeping Star Wars together. Ryan Johnson may or may not have messed it up. We'll see.
You realize by now anybody could have done that, right? Shit.
Pretty much.
Honestly, though, well, with as big as the fan base is, it's almost like the fan base knows better than any random director will. You know?
Yeah.
I don't know. Star Wars fan base is pretty
Yeah,
toxic.
that's kind of neither here nor there.
True. You got to be careful
The
with
Star
these.
Wars is the Disney fan base now. So,
But you know what J.J. Abrams did that it's probably his
Yeah.
biggest thing was Lost. Lost was J.J. Abrams' like baby.
Oh, the TV show, the
yeah.
TV series, dude. Yeah.
Dude, Lost was amazing.
Dude, I was lost just watching that.
just
shit.
watching Lost, right?
dude.
I think that's his baby, though. Honestly, like that's such a fun TV show.
That was kind of like that show that lasted one season was Alcatraz, dude. It was like,
Alcatraz, yeah.
It was like, yeah, dude, that came out like 2013,
Yeah.
12. Yeah, you were lost just watching that, dude.
Yeah,
You know-
J.J. Abrams is all right, but I mean, definitely compared to Ron Howard, he's way better.
On Howard.
I don't think Ron Howard's bad. But yeah, like you said, I mean, he doesn't have a distinct style, and I think that that's kind of the same here in some ways because obviously he relies a lot on the source material, and in my opinion,
But you know what? He does bring a lot of true stories to life. Remember that one race car movie, Rush, dude?
Yeah.
With
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
Chris Hemsworth.
Uh-huh.
Oh, yeah.
He was the race car driver, dude. And that was real, like, a British racing, you know, like Formula 1, Formula 2 series, man.
Yeah.
Like, Jesus, that was badass.
Yeah, so I mean, yeah, he does a good job when it comes to historical movies that are based on actual fact. He does well on that.
I think he tries to bring the story to life as much as he can, you know?
Yeah.
And he definitely did that for the most part here with The Grinch. You know?
Yeah.
That's what I think. I think he took the source material, which stays pretty faithful in certain parts, but
For the most part.
in other ways, he expands on it and he adds to it. And you kind of get this whole picture of Whoville and the Grinch's lair on Mount Crumpet. You know, again with that Seussian quality.
Exactly.
Yeah, go ahead, man.
I think you need to do that because, you know, you look at Bruce Timm when he went to do the Killing Joke animated movie, say what you will about how it actually ended up, but you needed he said in an interview that, you know, the film's only 64 pages or the book's only 64 pages and you need something that is going to make you feel a certain way when Batgirl gets shot and when Jim Gordon gets taken, like that needs to have an emotional linchpin to it. So we're gonna flesh those characters out,
Right, I see what you're saying.
and that's when you're like, I would imagine that it's been a while since I've read The Grinch, but if I remember correctly, it's only like a 30-page book, so you really have to, for an animated like short, it did like they did in the 60s, it works fine. But as an actual movie, you need to have enough material that's going to make you sympathize, like you had said, with the Grinch. You need to understand. You need to know why. Why do I want this character to really improve? Like why should I care about a character that is just stone cold?
Yeah, I think that a huge part of that is Jim Carrey's performance. I mean, he injects a good little bit of humanity into the Grinch's character.
Oh, right.
He does 100%. Like
wasn't I'm sorry, Ash. Wasn't I saying that was almost like Phantom of the Opera? It's kind of like a monster, like wanting to become human, but you know everybody else recognizing him as a monster.
yeah,
That's a lot of Phantom of the Opera, dude.
Yeah, you're right.
The Grinch in the stories, you know, was just kind of a mean-spirited character, but Jim Carrey injects this personality into this character that's lovable even when he's mean.
I'm kind of almost curious too, like how much of like Ron Howard was just like, you know what, this is the saying, this is the setting of the scene, like just do whatever you want, Jim Carrey. Like just improvise, because it definitely seems like you can see some scenes where he feels like he's improvising, like the
It's too random.
Method acting. Just let him do it.
There's-
Let him do that. Jared.
There's definitely a lot of improvisation. Like I know one scene was the scene where he's I think that he's in his lair and he takes a tablecloth and he tries to upend the dining room table.
And he
has
does
a
it
bunch of stuff.
successfully, and then he just knocks the rest off.
Yeah, that was all improv because what was supposed to happen is all that shit was supposed to be knocked off when he grabbed it anyways. He was supposed to like try to do that trick and fail at it, but he actually succeeded at it.
I noticed that,
too well.
and I thought that was funny.
It's actually one of the more memorable moments in that movie to me for some reason.
Right, I believe you.
That's one of those actor studio stage actors right there.
Yeah, straight
It's
up.
like you just go with it, really.
Definitely.
I mean, no matter what the script says, just go with it. That makes you know.
Would you say this is Jim Carrey's best role, or what would you say his best role is?
Shit.
I know, right? I mean, you got a lot. You've got Dumb and
his-
Dumber. You've
yeah.
got Bruce Almighty. You've
His
got
best role.
you got a lot of stuff. You know.
You know,
We grew up with The Mask and
Oh, the Mask.
Remember
Yes, I
that?
love the
Well,
Mask.
guys,
bro.
what about the Truman Show?
The Truman Show? Yeah.
That was one of his serious performances as a serious actor, other than a comedic actor.
Yeah, and it's-
out of the 80s,
And a scarily accurate movie as well.
it was brilliantly done.
You know, he's the voice for Horton Hears a Who, right?
Oh, he
didn't
is?
know that.
Yeah.
Shit.
Along with Steve Carell. I think
and
Steve
Count
Carell's the-
Olaf.
And Count Olaf. That's
Oh, yeah,
right.
that's
Of course,
right.
Count Olaf. You
Both
can't
in,
forget that.
Bruce Almighty, both of them.
Lemony
Almighty, yeah.
Snicket.
Lemony Snicket, yeah.
Which,
Well, he
in my
plays
opinion, is
Count
the one
Olaf.
thing the movie does, you know, better than the TV series does. Is Jim Carrey is just. I know Patrick Harris is great, but Jim Carrey just
Blows it
brings
away.
life into the role. That's what he does. He takes a character and he injects his own personality, and you kind of just accept that. Kind of like how Hugh Jackman became his own Wolverine.
Oh, yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think he's going to do well as, what was it, Dr. Robotnik? in Sonic the Hedgehog? Do you think that's gonna be
honestly? Even when everybody was
Yes.
trashing on the movie, and they were saying, everybody was like, "Oh, this is going to be terrible because of the design," everybody was saying Jim Carrey's gonna basically carry this movie.
Oh yeah, he's gonna carry it.
People like
all the way
we were
home.
watching the trailers and we were like, okay, yeah, Jim Carrey is actually doing really well here. Like, I have a lot of respect for him as an actor. Too bad that he's kind of a an anti-vaxxer.
Yeah, and amongst other problems with him.
He believes in a lot of weird stuff. We'll just go ahead and say that.
He's an
Yeah.
artist. He paints upside down. I'm sorry, but he can paint in a Sistine Chapel. I'm sorry. He's brilliant. He's brilliant.
Wow.
You seen him? You seen those YouTube videos?
Oh yeah.
He's a brilliant actor. Too bad he, believes in pseudoscience, scientific garbage, and
Tom Cruise,
Jenny McCarthy
Tom Cruise
bullshit.
with Scientology.
Oh, there you go, Tom Cruise.
R.
He's a
Kelly.
great actor,
R.
but
Kelly,
yeah.
R. Kelly.
Scientology.
Oh my
Tom
God.
Cruise coming out of the closet with R. Kelly. Right?
That's
South Park.
Yeah,
South Park. Oh
that
my
was good. I got
God.
your reference. I did. We got your reference.
And John Travolta. Sorry.
John Travolta.
Dear Lord.
Coming out of the closet.
1, I'm gonna shoot someone. 2, I'm gonna cap this bitch. 3, oh, that's so good, dude.
Wow.
Straight South Park.
Captain, you're probably gonna notice we go off the rails quite a bit.
I see that.
More of an improv class here, dude. Sorry.
It's all good, man. I talk like, but Robotnik is gonna be like his almost like return to form because he hasn't done a whole lot of public things since mainstream things since Dumb and Dumber.
Dumb and Dumber 2.
2, I think.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that was
dude.
2014.
Do you guys remember the
Yeah.
number 23? That was like the one
Oh.
serious role he was
Yes.
Hey, besides
Yeah.
the Truman Show, that was the next.
Yeah.
Where he was Fingerlink and he wrote a book about himself.
in. Yes. That was crazy.
And then his wife and son figured it out.
Walter
pretty crazy
Sparrow.
twist
Yeah,
there.
see, that-
Spoilers, guys. Spoilers
that
for the number
was-
23.
The number 23 is basically another serious role outside of the fucking Truman Show, right? I mean,
Yeah.
that was another serious role.
Eternal Sunshine.
There you go.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
Eternal Sunshine.
There you
Oh
go.
hell. That's a great movie.
Oh, Eternal
Yes.
Sunshine of
Yeah.
the Spotless Mind.
Man, y'all haven't seen that?
He plays Joel Barish. I'm looking at the IMDb. That's
Hey,
the only reason
speaking
I
of
can see this.
sunshine, did you guys notice how little of it there is in this movie?
Of actual
Oh, yeah.
sunlight?
Yeah, it's for a family, holiday movie. It's dark, right? As far as the actual color scheme goes.
You have a good point. It's very, I want to say grotesque, but not really. You know what I mean? It's very dark, very low themed. It's got this. It's not very, very yippy and cheery as it
Yeah,
should.
well,
That's why it kind of feels Tim Burton-y.
It does. It feels Tim
like-
Burton.
Well, a big part of that is because of the color grading and the cinematography.
Probably Anthony Hopkins voiceover.
Yeah, I mean that adds to it, but
narrating everything.
Yeah, we're talking about the look of it, and the look of it. I mean, the colors seem a bit muted. Which is strange for a movie that's supposed to be this colorful. I mean,
Well, isn't this supposed to take place within isn't the setting of Whoville actually inside of a snowflake?
yeah,
That's what they
that's
say.
right.
That's what it
Oh,
shows at the end. It
okay.
zooms out. It's just like Horton Hears a Who, where it's on top of a dandelion.
It shows in the beginning.
That shows in the beginning, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Whoa.
yeah. So maybe that's kind of just an ethereal glow that just comes from living on a snowflake.
I guess so.
Whoa.
I mean, at least in Pennsylvania, when it snows, it is not sunning.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Not
Oh,
sunny
yeah.
whatsoever. So,
In Philadelphia.
I mean, I could understand some of the cinematography, some of the color schemes with it. But also, too, it seems to kind of get brighter as the
the sun comes up.
Grinch kind of nears towards his
When he-
climactic of
When
the
he,
three.
when he all of a
rank
sudden
characters.
gets
You're right.
a heart. When he all of a sudden gets a heart, the sun just comes out.
Yeah, you're right.
Wow.
And then
Yeah, it
Anthony
does.
Anthony Hopkins is like, yeah, okay. His heart is twice as bigger.
I
'Cause-
thought, by the way, you said, you don't see the sun a lot, but I thought it was always sunny in Philadelphia.
I thought it was. too.
Ah.
I think only with Philly's cheesesteaks. I'm sorry.
There you go.
I'm not in Philly, so joke's on you.
Oh,
got him.
hell.
Well, I didn't figure, but, you said
Watching
Pennsylvania. So.
all the Rocky movies. Sorry,
Yeah. I mean, shit.
we just got done watching Creed 2. So
Yeah.
But, yeah, how does the cinematography hold up to you guys? And especially, how do those effects hold up today?
Oh, the effects as far as the makeup and everything are incredible. Like especially Jim Carrey's.
Oh yeah.
Jim Carrey's costume, which by the way was torture for him to put on and to wear.
Exactly.
I bet.
That was like putting on a new Planet of the Apes costume. It took hours, dude.
Oh, he was very cranky about it. He even yelled at a makeup assistant who quit, and Ron Howard and the producer of the movie had to sit down with Jim Carrey and just be like, "Look, man, you gotta. I know this sucks, but you gotta lighten up on the help, man.
You gotta paint your face.
It's like we gotta do this.
We got at least over 4 hours of makeup to do. I'm sorry, bro.
It's funny. So what he did is he actually had somebody who was like from the counterterrorism world who knows how to handle torture and everything. You know how to actually keep people from breaking under interrogation, and they had to teach him techniques in order to work through the pain and the discomfort and everything.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's like, dude, you might as well go to sleep and then we'll paint your face.
Yeah, I mean, just the contacts alone that he had to wear.
Green.
I mean,
red,
those were painful.
That went over the whole eyeball.
Yeah.
A lot of the effects in this movie are practical.
There
wasn't a lot of special effects.
There's some CGI if you really, really look for it, but it's few and far between. Yeah, and some of the opening scenes in Whoville, like during the whole Christmas pageantry and everything.
You'll see the background. That's all a set, like a Harry Potter set. You know?
If you look closely enough, you'll see some of it.
I would imagine that, and like I can see that, but I think that the practical effects, like I was actually listening to your guys' Suicide Squad episode today.
Yeah.
And talking about Killer Croc on that one,
Yeah.
I enjoyed the like the look of him. Like I love practical effects. I'm a cheap 80s nerd.
Thank you. See, I liked it too.
Yeah, Bo and I are as well, man.
Yeah. Robert and I are right in that same boat.
We probably have a lot to talk about.
Yeah.
When it comes there, and I think that this there's even a line where Jeffrey Tambor's mayor turns to Cindy and he's like, you haven't even grown into your nose yet.
Yeah.
But Christine Baranski doesn't have a nose either, so
it's puberty
That's
pretty
right.
much growing your nose.
Yeah. They just wanted Christine Baranski to just look hot, pretty much. That's why they didn't give her the nose.
You know what?
Little girl, what the fuck?
I was looking it up, and the Grinch was supposed to be up there for 53 years.
Wow.
So she would have been in her 60s? I mean, I could buy the mayor being, that old, and I could buy the Grinch being that old because we don't know how he ages. But
Christine Baranski was an older lady even back then. But
she's kind of milfy, not.
She's very, very well
Gilfy.
made up. Yeah, Gilfy. Oh my
terrible.
god.
Oh, yeah.
Dude, really?
She has too much Botox.
Aw.
I mean,
she's
maybe Whoville's age slower than us.
Probably.
Yeah. No, I'm actually guessing that there is some kind of truth behind that.
Like Baby Yoda?
Just due to the fact that they're microscopic.
Yeah.
I mean,
Baby Yoda is 50 years old.
Baby Yoda.
By the way, here's an interesting thought. Okay, and this is another tangent, but okay. In Return of the Jedi, Yoda says 900. When 900 years old you are, something or other, right? He mentions he's 900 years old, right? Mm-hmm. Baby Yoda's 50 years old and he's an infant. That's, the equivalent of maybe 1 year old, right?
Something like that.
So if you do the math, Yoda died at the age of the equivalent of 18?
Probably. I don't know.
Was he a leap year? He's a leap year Yoda?
there you go.
Unless, they're aging. I mean, I guess we're assuming that they age exactly proportionally to humans, and I guess that's the fallacy I'm making, but just a note that I was thinking about.
Well, what do you think about, Who's and the Grinch?
I think that the effects are particularly believable.
Yeah, very much so.
The Grinch looks great. I mean, that looks real to me. I was honestly trying to look for Jim Carrey's face underneath.
So was I. I had trouble. I had a lot of trouble looking for Jim Carrey's face underneath, especially with that nose, that weird cat-shaped nose.
Yeah, but what's amazing about that is how it still allowed him so much expression.
It did.
In his
there was a lot of facial
area.
expression. That's a good point.
Just coming off of the Riddler and Batman Forever.
Oh, yeah.
And then being Ace Ventura,
Oh,
yeah.
You know what else is fun about this movie? Despite it being a family movie, the many, innuendos. I like when he goes, this baby looks just like your boss.
Oh my goodness, that was so funny.
I had to rewind.
I had to too.
Just to make sure he says bitchin'.
He says bitchin'.
Just like
He does.
the
He
boss.
says bitchin'.
Yeah, totally.
And I was like, is that kind of like the F word rule in for a movie to be PG-13? Can a movie be PG if it's just got one minor cuss word?
I don't know. I haven't really brushed up on how the MPAA works. I mean, there's a documentary on it that I still haven't seen.
I mean, Ice Age got away with the pun damn, so I don't know.
Yeah.
Shrek got away with ass.
Shrek got away with ass.
Well, ass and ass you can say on live television, really.
Well, because he meant donkey, but it was an obvious pun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can say that on TV shows on live television.
You can, right? Yeah, I don't know.
Well, you can say shit on the Adult Swim now.
There you go. Yeah. There's certain things you can say on live television.
Yeah.
Can you say I grabbed it by the... what?
We're not going there.
Yeah,
Now you get impeached for that shit.
That's censored just the way you did it.
Yep, exactly.
On television.
I mean, you want to start doing that, we may as well start dropping in bobs and
Yeah,
get
right,
ourselves
honestly,
completely
though.
canceled.
Yeah, may as well, right?
Dude.
Jesus.
Might as well.
But yeah, no, I appreciate the cinematography in this. Another thing that really sticks out, and I think an aspect of this movie that garnered a lot of praise was the musical score. I mean, we've got a new rendition of the "You're a Mean One, Mr. Grinch," this time performed by Jim Carrey.
I love his version, honestly. I mean, it's
kind of off the rails, right?
It is, man. I mean, especially visually. I mean,
Yeah.
it's really
Oh, yeah.
crazy. Yeah.
The smiling part where they just zoom in is kind of like really gross, which is the way that you're supposed to feel about the Grinch as a character. Like, he's not supposed to be a likable character. So the fact that this film, you can dislike him and like him in the same breath is kind of really good balance for the screenwriting. But I do agree, like, the score for this is absolutely phenomenal.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
And Cindy Lou Who's song, she's for a child actor, she's actually not very good at singing.
No.
It was pretty bad, but
it was kind of.
but it's a pretty song, you know.
Yeah.
Where are
Yeah,
you-
well, compare that to what she's been making lately.
Taylor
Yeah, I was
Momsen.
about to say.
Yeah.
Just making that transition alone.
She's pretty much a straight rock star now.
It's hard to make that transition from singer to actor, really, too.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah,
And
that's
then
true.
sing in a movie, and then
Yeah.
still be an actor.
Yeah, well, geez, look at Russell Crowe in Les Mis. It's
Yeah,
like,
man.
ugh.
It's
Look
a
at Jim Carrey though.
It's a hard transition
Yeah.
to try to
He
be
can
a
sing.
singer to an actor.
Oh, yeah, Jim Carrey can sing.
I didn't know
can.
that, but he can sing. He does it almost as well, if not, maybe better than the original.
Yeah, yeah.
Which was not Boris Karloff, by the way. It was somebody
You
else.
Sure, it wasn't.
It was not actually. It's commonly thought that it was Boris Karloff.
Boris Karloff narrated
was-
it.
he
Didn't
narrated
sing the
it.
movie. He didn't sing the song.
But
You
he
know
cannot
Boris-
sing actually.
You know Boris Karloff is Frankenstein, right?
Yeah, Frankenstein.
The
of
original
course.
Frankenstein.
Yeah.
Monster movies.
Yeah, but he did a lot of voiceover work like that.
I think
Albert Haig
Boris
was-
Karloff
who was
did
composed
one of the
by-
Wolfman movies. It wasn't Lon Chaney Jr., right? Remember that?
Something like
It's-
that.
No, it's
Do you-
Thurl Ravenscroft.
They're all Ravenscroft.
You know how many Wolfman movies there were? Fuck.
Yeah.
Jesus.
You're a wolf man.
I probably
Damn it.
am. I wouldn't deny it.
God damn it.
But yeah, no, I really like the ways that and we kind of touched upon this earlier, but the way that this film fleshes out the original story by Dr. Seuss. I mean, it's like you had mentioned earlier, Cap. We've got basically a very short story, originally, and in the original book, I mean, pretty much jumps straight into the plot of the Grinch stealing Christmas. This movie saves it for the end, so you've got a lot in between. We've got additions and expansions of, especially the Grinch's backstory, which makes the character more sympathetic, right?
It does, but it also kind of leaves a little glaring hole. Like it shows him pretty much hating Christmas from the beginning, but supposedly the incident that happens at school with him and Martha May and everything, that's supposed to be the origin of his hatred for Christmas, but he clearly hated Christmas from the beginning when he
begin with,
actually landed in Whoville.
Right.
I kind of feel like it's kind of like with him in the beginning, it's like he's kind of like not sure whether or not he likes Christmas or hates Christmas. And if he likes Christmas, he's not really sure as to why he's supposed to like Christmas. But if he hates Christmas, he's also not supposed to sure why he's supposed to hate it. Him and Cindy Lou Who have very similar arcs at the same age as to where
Yeah.
they're finding whether or not they should like Christmas, and it's an identity issue. It's like saying like what's a notoriously like hated film? It's like saying
Suicide Squad.
Okay, Suicide Squad.
It's
Yeah,
basically
we'll stick with Suicide Squad. It's like okay, well, I know that this film is notoriously hated. Why is it hated though? And it's kind of this journey of finding out, okay, do I agree with the crowd or do I not agree with the crowd, and kind of forging your own ideas. And it's the scene where they're at the Christmas party as a kid that kind of really tips him over the edge, and for his character that makes him hate Christmas is to say, okay, well, this is a traumatic event. And with traumatic event, I'm going to basically say, all right, this is the reason why I hate Christmas. It is the reason that someone that experiences a car crash might have issues driving a certain road, or
like Donald Trump hates Mexicans.
Damn it.
And why an assault victim might not like to be around certain kinds of food or candy or whatever. So I mean, I agree. They do really flesh it out really well, and they kind of give the antagonist or the protagonist of Cindy Lou some real purpose. Where she for the majority of the source material, like she's really the only who kind of gets a little bit of background, but here they really kind of take her to this journey of discovery of self, so to say.
Right.
It's almost like self-actualization in a way.
Yeah.
Kind of.
She's very objective when she starts off, because she's not, just like you said before, she's not sure whether or not Christmas is supposed to be this something that we all supposed to love or not, whatnot, especially because the Grinch doesn't like it. You know, the Grinch doesn't like it, so what's the big deal? What's going on, you know?
Yeah.
But she wants the Grinch to be involved because, well, why isn't he involved and nobody loves him? And that's her thoughts on it. So she's objective, and she wants everybody to be loved. And, of course, everything gets screwed over. The whole town gets screwed up because of the Cheermeister situation. And she gets blamed for it, but she still, in the end, wants him to be, you know, part of Christmas.
Yeah, why? And again, it's being brought up, you know, wondering, why should I hate something? Why should I hate the Grinch?
Right.
That's really well spoken, guys.
Yeah.
And that actually was kind of one of my other points here that I have written down is that's another addition or expansion here. Obviously, you know, the original story did, you know, touch on the consumerism and materialism, but Cindy Lou Who's search for the true meaning of Christmas amidst Whoville's commercialism, I think, is an additional aspect. Her point of view here, you know, fleshes out the movie even more, adds some, you know, more in that she becomes the, you know, the deuteragonist here.
Yeah.
I really like what you said, where, you know, in a way it parallels the Grinch's own journey. And it's kind of an antithesis to his character, because obviously he went down a dark path, but Cindy Lou Who's kind of ultimately the one that brings him back into the light.
Yeah, she's the heart of the story, and she's the heart of the whole character arc between her and the Grinch.
And one of the only self-aware characters in the movie.
Oh, completely self-aware. I mean, she's looking around at all this fucking pageantry, and she's just like, what is, how am I supposed to feel about this?
Yeah,
shit?
everyone
You
falls
know?
like sheep in a herd, you know, but she's the only one who ventures and questions, just like the Grinch. You know, the Grinch was that way, and so that was a good point. Like you said, they parallel those stories together.
I can't help but feel so bad for her when she's pointed out and ostracized by the mayor.
I know.
That's so
I know.
sad.
But then when her dad stands up for her in the end, that's a good moment. And there are a lot of good moments in this movie. I like some of the additional scenes that are added, which I think add to the narrative, because you've got, you know, several scenes where the Grinch actually ventures into Whoville. One point where he just fucks with them.
Oh yeah.
And then his entry into the Whobilation, which in a way almost redeems the character. It's kind of this climactic moment where he starts to enjoy himself. You see this potential, and then all of a sudden, you know, that dickhole of a mayor.
Oh yeah, that what happens there is 100% the mayor's fault, just because he couldn't stand not being a dick for once.
And then that's kind of the crux of the movie right there, because that's where he decides to steal Christmas, is following that event. So, you know, that kind of adds an additional layer to the movie. And when we see this moment where he almost redeems himself, and then this is what sets him on the path.
Yeah.
That is, you know, the title of the movie.
Right on.
So I think that was really good. I really enjoyed the fact of, I think that's why this movie excels, because, I think you were saying the other Grinch movie kind of, it's kind of the day-to-day life. And this one turns it into a feature-length film. It adds the necessary character developments and story developments that turn this into, a simple children's story to a family film.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
What did you feel about Clint Howard's performance, Ash?
Clint Howard.
Oh, I mean, Clint, that's Mexican for death, Howard.
Yes, that's a good thing. House of the Dead, bro.
Here's a weird thing. And actually, this is right where we were about to kind of talk about the cast and the performances. So I'm glad you guys mentioned this, but the entire Howard family seems to be casted here.
They do.
I mean,
Yeah.
You've got Clint, that's Mexican for death, Howard. You've got Rance Howard, Bryce Dallas Howard, who I did not know
I was unaware of that either.
was the daughter of Ron Howard, and she makes a very, very brief appearance, and I didn't even recognize her. I think she's still a kid, and it's a random role. You've also got Jeremy Howard, unrelated. No, seriously, there's another random role here. Jeremy Howard, I think Cindy's brother,
And they're no relation.
there's no relation. I looked it up.
Wow.
And of course Ron himself makes a cameo actually.
Who is he?
Another random. Who.
Oh, I'm gonna have to like really, really, really look hard for him.
Just like the Cinderella Man.
Yeah, he was in the Cinderella Man briefly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
The son, the father. Yeah.
the father, the son.
Yep.
Son, the father. Yeah. Ron Howard's always going to put his brother in his movies.
Oh yeah.
Does he?
Always.
Ron Howard and Clint Howard.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty much a given with his movies, right?
Oh,
Yeah. You're.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
In regards to the characters and performances, obviously, and we've talked about it already a lot. Jim Carrey steals the show.
Yeah.
A lot of that might be improvisation. A lot of it might be
Method acting, improv.
method
Yeah,
acting,
yeah.
some good direction. Obviously, taking like I said, taking a character who was more one-dimensional throughout most of the story. Still a dynamic character because he does change, but
Yeah.
taking that character and actually making him a dynamic character throughout. Like we said, his backstory makes him more sympathetic, and he himself being a personality. It really vibes with a lot of us millennials today. It's been kind of turned into a meme, right?
Right.
The whole self-loathing at 10 and the,
Also, is it just me, or is there a little bit of a meta angle to some of the stuff that Jim Carrey touches on in this movie? Like for instance, that whole scene where he is obviously ragging on Ron Howard himself. Where he's
Dude,
trying.
that is one of the best scenes in this movie.
It really is. Seriously.
Brilliant!
I mean, yeah, and all that was improv, and Ron Howard loved it. I mean, he was like, no, that's going in the movie.
what are you referring to?
When he's talking to Max, trying to get him to fill the role of Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny.
Kind of like Nightmare Before Christmas when he puts on the red nose
Yeah.
and the antler. It's a Nightmare Before Christmas, dude.
Pretty much.
Another allusion to Tim Burton.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there you are.
Exactly.
Definitely.
If someone else were to make another adaptation, which obviously at this point would be completely unnecessary, but if we hadn't have gotten the 2018, I think I would have actually given a shot to a Tim Burton. Maybe a little bit later down the road, though.
He would have used Johnny Depp, though. Yeah.
Oh,
That's
of course.
true.
And he would have put him with his wife, Helena Bonham
Carter.
Yep,
Of course.
Of course, you got to have them
That
together.
dude has some kind of sick fantasy.
Yeah, he
I think
does.
he legitimately wants his best friend to fuck his wife.
I think so, too.
Do you think he's a cuckold?
Oh, man.
Dude, I bet he is. I bet he fucking gets off to that.
All right, you heard it here first, folks. Tim Burton is a cuck.
Oh, my God.
damn, dude.
Fucking hell.
Damn it.
But in many ways, the titular Grinch is also
Tit.
God damn it.
leave.
Coda,
Go-
damn it.
Go. No, the eponymous character of the Grinch. I guess I'll use that terminology instead, so you can't make fun of it. Is defined by the relationships in this movie. I guess chief among those being Cindy Lou Who, played by Taylor Momsen. For a child actor, I mean, I know I ragged on her singing earlier, but she's a good actress.
Yeah, she really grounds this movie in a way that certain other actresses her age just couldn't really achieve. You know?
There was one scene in particular which was really, really important to this movie, and it was when she says, I was just trying to save Christmas. I think that's what the words were, and she says it in a very hushed voice, a very quiet. In fact, you can almost barely hear it, but you know what she's saying, even if you don't have subtitles. And that's a really good moment because it's very quiet and it's somber. And I don't think there's any music playing, but you can barely hear her saying that. You can hear her how upset she is because I just wanted to save Christmas. It was whispered. It was hushed. It was good. I think that was Ron Howard's point. I don't know if that was Taylor Momsen doing that quietly on purpose, if she felt actually ashamed, or if that was her acting. But whatever it was good.
Oh yeah. I mean, she had a very subtle approach to her performance that I liked. Which I mean, let's face it, this is a very unsubtle movie in many ways. I mean, don't you think so, Cap?
Yeah, I totally agree, and I think too I think this time of year, like we just put out an episode on Hanukkah not that long ago on our show, and like one of the things that made me want to put out a Hanukkah episode is because I think that this time of year is we just kind of default to Christmas, like it's just the societal norm, and when you look at Whoville. Whoville operates almost the same exact way as Halloween Town, and the fact of it's like come December 26th, it's how many more days do we have until the next Christmas?
Right.
You're right.
Christmas is their only passion.
Yeah, it's something that they're doing, and that's one of the things I really admire about the whole arc of Cindy Lou Who throughout the course of this film is that she's wanting to understand something deeper in life and wanting to understand why she should care so much about this holiday. And I think sometimes that around this time of year, I feel like the older I get, the more that personally for me, that Christmas is less about the gifts and it's more about the community embrace. And you can really kind of see that. I think that that's really what ultimately ends up fleshing out that the character of the Grinch isn't necessarily the act that, they weren't singing. Because if you remember in the source material, their response is to sing the Who anthem before the Grinch kind of comes to his realization and his heart grows 3 times the size.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. In this film, everyone's like, "Oh, dude, where's Christmas? Where's our gifts? Santa robbed us." And
it's their prayer, pretty much.
Yeah. And Cindy Lou's like, what do you mean? Like, this is not the reason that Christmas exists. Like, it's community. It's surrounding yourself with family.
It doesn't matter if we lose everything. It matters that we all have each other.
Exactly. Right, and that's the reasoning behind why the Grinch in the first place goes up to his mountain as a kid, and spends 53 years on top of this mountain.
And that's why his heart grows.
Right, he thinks it's all about the materialism.
He grows to understand.
Yeah, he grows
what
to
Christmas
understand
is all about.
what's going on. And Cindy Lou shows that to him because she doesn't even know herself, but she kind of figures it out with him.
Yeah.
That if we're supposed to love each other and all be here this time of year, then why isn't the Grinch here?
He's watching them pray at the end of the mountain.
There you go.
And he's like, okay,
Yeah.
all right, yeah, I'm gonna turn it all around then.
Yeah.
I'm gonna give him back their stuff.
Yeah. It's quite a change of heart, honestly.
Yeah, definitely. And it happens in an instant, but all the foundation is laid there. I think so.
Actually, I think the way that they portrayed that particular moment is a lot better in this because, I mean, in the original, he literally just switches from, from being mean and vicious and everything to just being a total sweetheart.
Yeah, it's like a light bulb.
Yeah,
right. As soon as he sees that prayer, then his heart turns like 3 times as bigger or whatever the fuck it is, right?
But I mean, here, like, even though he does grow and even though he does gain a lot more of his heart back, his heart grows and everything. He's still the Grinch. I mean, he still has the same vices. He still has the same cynicism.
Goofy asshole.
He's just a lot more agreeable now.
Right.
And he quickly, he invites Max up and he says, "I love you, Max," and then just as quickly, okay, that's enough.
Yeah, right. Yeah. It's like small steps, baby steps. Yeah. And that's what it takes to grow as a person. Sometimes it's just small steps. I mean, just making small concessions or small steps forward.
It's just the littlest things. That's what it is. Really.
Yeah.
And what was with all those hairstyles, man? Everybody's hair was fucked up.
Like Pompadour, Greaser.
Yeah, fucked up. Yeah, exactly. I mean, between the mayor, Clint Howard, and and Cindy Lou. I mean, they all had weird hair, man.
Everybody, yeah, it was weird.
Another important relationship, of course, for the Grinch is that of Mayor Dickhole, or Augustus Mayhew, played by Jeffrey Tambor.
Which, by the way, screw Jeffrey Tambor as well. That dude's he had some allegations come up recently that was not too great.
Who?
You think he was on Epstein's Island?
I hope not.
Who are we talking about?
Jeffrey Tambor, the
Jeffrey
mayor.
Tambor. Oh, yeah, really?
Yeah, he's had some allegations come up, unfortunately. So, I mean, that kind of colors his character. I mean, it makes him a little more hateable, I think.
and he is. He's the character you love to hate. Which a lot of people would have felt may have been the Grinch. But in this case, the character, and I really like the addition of this character.
Yeah.
Because, he's a bully to the Grinch as a child, and ultimately one of his major motivations for his hatred of the Who's and Christmas. And he's still a dick as an adult.
Yeah, like look at what happens at the whole Christmas Jubilee that they have, where he's
the Hubilation.
The Hubilation.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he fucking sticks it to the Grinch at the end, not only with the razor, but also with proposing marriage to Martha May.
Which, by the way, they were together for 53 years, right? She was his girlfriend in school, and he just decided now to marry her?
Yeah, that's a little odd. But
No,
they didn't.
that was specifically as a middle finger to the Grinch.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And she kind of
Holiday.
is awestruck, doesn't really know what to do with that.
Holiday Cheermeister, remember that?
Yeah.
Holiday Cheermeister.
Yeah, and the mayor totally fucked that up. Bad.
Yeah, but
So-
the Grinch fucked it up even
Fucked
more.
his whole moment up. Yeah. that was his moment right there.
Yeah.
You only get one moment, bro. Like Eminem, dude.
Yeah. So, do you guys think that he was the guy that put the holiday spirit term of Grinch in the Who dictionary?
Probably. Because, I mean, I don't think we have any indication that he was called the Grinch, like, at that time. You know, I mean,
That's a good point.
did we really
Yeah.
see anybody actually call him by his name when he was a kid?
The Grinch.
They call him the Grinch.
They do?
Yeah, he wrote.
You
He has a
sure?
little name tag that says Grinch.
Oh,
and
okay,
The
then.
teacher says Mr. Grinch,
Okay, then I
His name
guess
was the Grinch. Yeah.
which is kind of obviously the nannies that raised him named him. They named him the Grinch.
Yeah, but more than likely, like, even though he was named the Grinch, the mayor probably did kind of.
Well, he probably coined that term, his
Coined the-
name being a word that means, like Scrooge.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
basically like a smear against him.
Right.
you
Well,
know.
this is like, Dr. Seuss's The Scrooge. I mean, this is his own version of that situation because
Yeah,
you
yeah.
got this character who hates Christmas and all these characters that bring him back to it. So it's the same kind of story. This old
Yeah.
guy. Right.
Here's the deep moment. Okay, they have this book of Who, right, which has some, ultimately has some good messages in it, but is misinterpreted.
Yeah, purposely. Yeah, cherry picked.
Isn't that very similar to, also a real world book that's held up by a lot of people, but quite often, misinterpreted and used for agendas.
That's a good point.
Yeah, pretty much any religious scripture you can think of. I mean,
Actually, yeah,
geez.
pretty much any religious
Right.
scripture.
For fuck's sake.
Yeah. that was, I think that was particularly poignant. That was, I think, and I don't remember the Book of Who being mentioned in, the original source material. So that may have been, and especially the way it's used here, that may have been an addition.
Yeah. I mean, well, there's some satirical underpinnings to this movie when you really kind of scratch at the surface a little bit, And that's some of that minor little bit of satire there.
Yeah. And of course, the other important relationship is Martha May Huvier, Christine Baranski. It was definitely a very layered character. She kind of seems a little bit materialistic and full of herself, but she's the only one that actually, saw the Grinch as a person.
Yeah. Her and Cindy Lou.
Yeah, and it's weird too because it's like you said, they give her off, especially in the beginning when they show Cindy Lou's mom hanging up lights, and then Martha's hanging up lights with her new amazing gun that can put up the lights immediately. And you see that and you're thinking, okay, so she's a materialistic bitch. Like, so that's what you're supposed to think of her in the beginning.
They portray her that a little bit because the
Right.
first thing she says about the Grinch is what he can't color coordinate or
He
something.
can't color coordinate, yeah.
And she comes off as a little ditzy and whatnot, but you can tell underneath it, she's got a heart, and that's why I say she's kind of a layered character.
Layered, exactly.
Yeah.
And she's somebody that, again, was the only one that saw the Grinch differently than everybody else, growing up.
His muscles.
Yes.
Oh my god, that moment is kind of creepy.
It's
actually.
cringy.
She's talking about literally like a 5-year-old kid or a little kid. It's like, oh my god, man, really?
I think it was 8.
He was 8, an 8-year-old kid. It's like, wow, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, and she's like still fantasizing over it. It's a little weird.
Yeah, it is, but I mean, it still feels right for her to, end up with the Grinch in the end.
Is that borderline pedophilia?
I don't know, dude. I don't know. Maybe
she should go to Epstein's Island too.
There you go, shit.
God damn it. That's that stupid fucking island.
But yeah, Martha May Huvier, another interesting character here. And of course, we can't go without mentioning Anthony Hopkins, the narrator.
Yeah.
Ooh, so good.
Oh man, it's so perfect, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, he gives gravitas to his reading of the story.
Oh
It's
yeah,
just-
for sure.
I think he has to be on my list now. In my life, I want, narrators from my life, okay? Morgan Freeman,
Exactly.
James Earl Jones,
Yeah.
and Anthony Hopkins.
There you go.
Wow, that sounds like those would be 3 entirely different movies.
They do sound like 3 different movies.
I mean, seriously.
Samuel L. Jackson could be a good narrator too.
Once again, another
Entirely
Totally
different.
Hey,
Motherfucker.
you're forgetting Martin Sheen too.
Oh, Martin
yeah,
Sheen,
yeah.
that's a good one.
There you go.
Yeah.
But guys, how do you think, how the Grinch Stole Christmas, as it's seen today, does it hold up overall as a film, and what cultural impact, does it continue to have?
For millennials, yeah, exactly.
Were you going to say something, Cap?
I think this holds up fairly well. I think this is kind of the I feel like every generation there's like one film that you kind of constantly refer back to. The 40s had It's a Wonderful Life that has these really deep thematic themes and just conversation starters that really just need to be had again and again about value and worth and purpose. And then the 80s brought us A Christmas Story, which is another classic. But I think with this, with Jim Carrey, and even to a lesser extent, I think Elf is another great example of like
Elf.
modern.
Oh yeah.
We have to do Elf as a holiday special.
Yeah.
No, you mentioned It's a Wonderful Life, and that's a classic James Stewart movie. That's
Yeah.
a brilliant movie, man.
Yeah.
Jesus.
But I think too that this film has a lot of themes that for me as a viewer, the thing that really sticks with me is how can I experience a film or a television show or a book or a video game. How can it impact me emotionally? And I think there's a lot of themes here that of identity and community and treating your neighbors you want to be treated, but also too like not even judgment and prejudice, because there's a lot of prejudice between the Who's and the Grinch in this film, and that even could borderline against something like hating someone because they have a different political party than you, hating someone that you might be straight but being homophobic or transphobic or even racism or sexism or classism. I think the prejudice that the Grinch experiences not only fuels his hatred in this film, but I think it kind of also gives this underlying tone of almost justification for why he kind of can do what he does. But then it also, when you spin that, it also kind of gives you the lesson, or you get to walk away with, basically forgiveness and learning how to let go of bitterness as well. So these are really important themes that I think are littered throughout the course of this. And then when you put the amazing just characters and beautiful world of the Grinch and the soundtrack into this, it makes it a really lasting film that I think has endured for generations for specific reasons.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to believe that this movie is already almost 20 years old now.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, seriously, it holds up amazingly well. And
Damn,
honestly,
you're gonna make me feel old.
this kind of brings me to a point that I was thinking about, that this movie is kind of analogous to another holiday movie that was for a different holiday that was originally maligned upon its release, but eventually became like an integral part of that particular holiday. And I kind of feel like it's analogous to Hocus Pocus. And
Hocus
right?
Pocus.
I mean,
That's such a good movie.
Doesn't
dude.
it kind of? I mean, is this movie like the Christmas version of Hocus Pocus?
Absolutely,
in that way?
100%, dude. I watch Hocus
so.
Pocus every Halloween, dude.
Yeah.
Every Halloween, and
But-
it's such a good movie to talk about. That's another one we need to do in the podcast. That'll be fun.
And,
Yeah,
and
Halloween
that's
special.
and that's another movie that really captures the essence of the holiday,
Of the holiday.
that it's representing.
Absolutely.
You know, and to me, The Grinch is very similar to that.
You know, it's funny. You said Hocus Pocus, and I almost said it. I had that thought in my head. I was
Yeah.
like, he's thinking Halloween.
Exactly.
That's good, dude.
Exactly. And that's kind of what I feel like. This is a movie that it became a cult classic, but now it's just a integral part of Christmas.
See, this
to
is
me,
a Christmas movie, just like Die Hard is a Christmas movie.
And just like Lethal Weapon is a
Just like
Christmas
Lethal
movie.
Weapon.
I know what you mean. 'cause,
And
Yeah.
Gremlins.
I know what you mean
Gremlins.
because like right
And
at
the Star Wars holiday special.
right at the ending of like Hocus Pocus and the Grinch, you see the sun come up.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's
that's
like
right.
a defining moment
Right.
You're
to
right.
where it's like, okay, Christmas is almost over or Halloween's almost over. So,
Yeah.
this is it right here.
Damn.
Yeah, definitely. What do you think about that, Kat?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that this is. You guys said it perfectly.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh, you said it perfectly, man.
Yeah.
So, I guess we're kind of inching towards the end here. What are your guys' final thoughts on this? Starting with you, Bo.
Oh man, I love this movie. I love the humor. I love the characters. I mean, there are some flaws with the cinematography and everything, but ultimately, I don't think that it really detracts that much. I mean, I love the set design here. I mean, Jim Carrey is amazing, and everybody else does a great job in their role. Like especially Taylor Momsen.
Yeah.
I mean, this movie has so much heart to it. And honestly, I can't help but just like watching it, I mean, like last night I was watching a bunch of reviews for this movie, and there was a good little mixture of attitudes on here, and I came across the Nostalgia Critic's take on it, where she does this whole rhyming thing, but he thinks this movie is shit, which is fair enough, but it's like, I mean, I don't think that he's looking at it the right way. To me, I mean, this is a movie that really has a great themes, great values, and
Hey, Quentin Tarantino thinks his movies are fucking crap too.
Quentin
True.
Tarantino doesn't like it either.
Some actors don't even like watching themselves act.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah.
I don't know. I imagine Scorsese probably has something to say about it too.
I don't know. Maybe he does.
I mean, don't get me wrong. He's developed some pretty phenomenal films, but this guy goes around talking like he can define what cinema is or isn't.
I don't know. Maybe he kind of can.
Scorsese.
Guys,
He's
what,
learned
what is our tagline?
I think it's
What is our tagline?
it's the Italian
Good
blood.
movies,
bad movies,
and everything in between.
In between in the world.
That's
of
right.
cinema.
There is no definition of cinema. Cinema is an art.
Cinema
Cinema's a continuum.
Cinema
Yeah.
for us is low budget.
Yeah,
So-
right on.
And that's what they started out with, right?
Yeah.
What about your final thoughts, Robert, on The Grinch?
Jim Carrey's performance or the cartoon.
How the Grinch Stole Christmas, the 2000 film.
Yeah, right. I remember picking that up from the flea market in Poteet, Texas.
There you go.
On VHS, man. And outside of the cartoon that was aired every year for like Cartoon Network, remember?
Yeah. They
Yeah.
had it on Cartoon Network. Now they have it on TBS.
Yeah, see,
More or less.
See,
Still a Turner.
See, I remember
channel.
when the Jim Carrey version was the brand new series off of that, and
Yeah.
it's like everybody couldn't wait to get their hands on that and just see what Jim Carrey's performance would be like.
Yeah, but well, I mean, you remember the initial marketing leading up to that movie.
Yeah.
You just simply had his hand come in, grab an ornament, and
grab
then
something. You didn't even see his face. So when you
It was just his hand.
When you
That's
saw
it.
the smile, like when he did it and he scratched the onion underneath his freaking
Armpits. Yes.
Yeah.
It was like, okay, there's that smile. There's the Grinch.
Yeah.
That's like what 6 hours of work just in the making them smile, dude.
Wow, seriously.
Jesus Christ. I thought that was phenomenal for what it was. I mean,
Yeah, it's really, really
it
great.
brought the cartoon to life for what we're used to seeing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think this movie had a lot of rewatchability, like Bo said. It's a Christmas staple now. It really has become that for all of us, really. I mean,
Yeah.
I grew up this movie. This was made a year after I was born. So I mean, this is something that I've seen since I was born. You know,
Yeah.
Dakota's,
every
Dakota's our
Christmas.
young in here.
At least,
I'm
at least
young.
every Christmas, right?
yeah, at least every Christmas
Before
Fuck
the
it.
cartoon, yeah.
Yeah. I also noticed a lack of room references this episode. What's going on, guys?
What the fuck?
We had one. Not a
Where's
single
our,
one.
Where's our room reference?
Where's our
Hey,
ding?
He's not James Dean. Sorry.
Hi, Mark.
Oh, hi,
Oh.
Mark? Question mark? Yeah, right?
Hi.
Oh, my Lord.
There we go. I just feel like I had to insert that there because we haven't had one. So
Yeah.
We haven't done a room reference.
Jesus Christ, what's wrong with us?
I can't.
For
believe
shame.
Yeah.
Yeah,
God
shit.
damn it, man. It's like, well, we at least touched upon it.
we will never forget you, Tommy Wiseau.
And I'm dying.
I'm dying.
And
I got the results back. I have breast cancer.
I definitely
Definitely have breast cancer. Yes.
Damn it. All right.
All right.
You're good.
Captain Nostalgia, final thoughts?
I agree with a lot of you guys. I think this is a Christmas classic for a number of reasons. I remember growing up on everything about this movie, from the way that Jim Carrey smiled. There's a great freeze frame right in the middle where the camera is like slowed down just to kind of see his smile.
just
Yeah.
get that grin, right? You know what I mean?
I've seen
That-
pictures of that specific grin on just like Google. You know, you'll see it for the movie, and I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, like that is just a cinematic frame that has just stuck with me since I was a kid.
That's Jim Carrey, man.
And-
That's all him.
I love Jim Carrey in this role. Like Jim Carrey, Taylor Momsen, even some of the, Clint Howard and Jeffrey Tambor,
Hell yeah.
Christine's the lady whose name I cannot pronounce the last name.
Baranski?
Yeah.
That one, Leonard's mom. I love literally everything about this film, and this has kind of been a film that I have never really sat down to take apart to say whether or not I would like it or hate it, just because I at this point in my life I've seen it so many times.
It's just part of your life, right?
Yeah.
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 Well, that's important to know about this because I think every single one of us used the words growing up at one point. So we all watched this growing up. Everybody had that. I
So,
think there's a lot of people in the world who feel the same way.
I was a little older when this came out. I was in my late teens, but even
Right.
then, I was still stoked for it because, I grew up with the original Grinch story and everything. So, once I saw the teaser trailer, I'm just like, oh, finally.
Yeah, it's about time, right?
It's about fucking time.
I don't know. Did it kind of get that backlash that we see with a lot of the Disney remakes now? Now people just kind of accepted it, right?
I guess because that was the big wave, the first big wave of those movies. You know what I mean?
I don't mind that. I'm not like, I don't know why people hate that so much. Like, if you don't want to watch it, just don't watch it. If
It's
you want to keep
Warner's,
watching
right?
the original, you can.
Yeah.
It's
yeah.
Warner's, right?
Nobody's forcing
I
you to
think
watch
so.
a remake.
It's Warner's, so it'll forever be etched
Oh, yeah.
in the cinema history. So.
Yeah, definitely.
What about you, Ash? What are your final thoughts?
What are my final thoughts? Kind of what we've been saying throughout this thing, and basically what you guys also said. This movie is a part of my childhood. Essentially, we consider it, a minuscule part of our identities because it's so integral to our understanding of Christmas, especially if you did actually grow up with this movie, like I did. So, I like how it differentiates itself from other holiday movies, and from other Christmas movies. It's not another Hallmark film. It's definitely a deep, look at the true meaning of Christmas, and that's important. I definitely think that Dr. Seuss continues to teach lessons that are relevant today.
Absolutely. Today.
And this movie is no exception. The materialistic culture, which we all fall into. Me, myself, I love technology and I love I fucking love this MacBook and this iPhone that are sitting in front of me, and I love the fact that I'm fixing to.
I bet you do because they're cordless.
But
I had to say that. Sorry.
You're fine. But in a sense, we start to lose the meaning of what it means to be a community sometimes, and I think it's important to balance that. In the end, the Grinch gives back those gifts.
Yeah.
So everybody does get to enjoy them, but before that happens, everybody remembers what it's like to be a family again.
Yeah.
So it was important that the
community
Grinch stole Christmas. I mean, it was integral to their growing up.
Well, he says that. I'm glad the Grinch stole Christmas, right? I'm glad he stole our gifts. And I think that's really poignant. I think I've used that word 3 times.
He did that to remind them where they all came from. And it's not only the fundamental stuff, the little things. It's the Christmas spirit is what's going to bring us to life.
He taught them, and he taught himself, and he taught the viewers.
Exactly.
And again, I love how this movie brings to life the original story and fleshes it out. So I enjoy the 3-dimensional aspect of that.
It wasn't the sentimental things that mattered. It was just all of them being together on Christmas. It's what's really brought them together. Yeah.
Do who Doris.
Yeah, exactly.
Doris. Or like Jim Carrey. Da blue Doris, blah blue Doris.
Until I watched the movie just now with subtitles today, I never knew what the fuck they were saying.
I didn't either. I still don't. Hearing you say that, I still don't know what you're saying, guys. Honestly,
it's still gibberish, but at least
gibberish.
I understand what the gibberish is.
Yeah, exactly.
It's Jabberwocky.
It's like Monty Python and the Holy Grail.
It's Jabberwocky.
The scene where they hit themselves with the book.
Oh yeah, that's
that's Latin.
That's Latin though, but it's another one of those situations. What are they saying?
Piesu Domine.
Dona eis requiem.
Yes.
That's it.
I took Latin, so I knew.
Yeah.
I can kind of pick that apart, but I'm not going to right here. But yeah, holiday greetings. Again, happy Merry Christmas, Happy Christmas,
Happy Easter,
Happy Hanukkah. No.
Easter. Wrong time of year, Robert. Come on.
Hey,
Happy Yuletide, Happy Kwanzaa. Whatever you celebrate.
Happy New Year's Eve, Happy Easter.
Make it happy.
Might as well give them a happy Halloween while you're at it, Robert.
There you go. Happy Halloween.
Yeah.
Happy 4th of July.
Happy Kwanzaa.
Fuck it all.
You know what? It's a celebration wherever you're at.
Yeah.
Also, a Happy New Year, because the next time we see you is going to be in January, right, Bo?
Oh yeah.
And what can we expect from Collateral Cinema in the new year?
I won't be here, so.
Oh, whatever. You are totally going to be here.
Yeah.
I'm thinking that the next movie that we are going to do is going to be The Fifth Element.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah.
Bruce Willis.
I'll be leading on that episode as well, actually, because it was my suggestion.
I won't
yeah,
be here,
yeah.
so yeah, you guys are good.
Shut up.
Robert, you're going to be here. We're going to make
Robert,
you watch it.
The movie after that's going to be Gone in 60 Seconds,
I won't
the
be
original.
There. I won't be there either, so.
Oh,
that was your suggestion.
movie.
You have to do that without me.
That's your fucking movie.
Oh,
You're going to run that one, Robert.
I won't be here either.
Hey, don't be a fucking Grinch.
Yeah.
Hey.
But yeah, that's what's coming up. And yeah, we're looking forward to a lot of interesting stuff in the new year.
Yeah. I won't be there, so.
God damn it, Robert.
Another podcast wants me.
We're cutting half of that, all of that out. Okay.
I'm kind of signing a contract with another podcast because you guys.
Robert, we're trying to wrap this shit fucking up. Okay.
Hey, I'm trying to wrap it up too. I mean,
I'm just kidding. You're good.
I'm trying to wrap it up too. I mean, I know I'm. Going
wrap it up.
else.
Before you're having sex.
Wrap your shit up with saran wrap. Yeah,
there you go.
I know what you mean.
Yeah. Don't wrap your shit with saran wrap. Buy a condom.
Don't listen to him.
2 condoms and saran wrap.
Anyway,
Duct tape.
Hey, Captain, you
yeah.
Masking tape.
Captain, you want to plug your shit?
Yeah, you guys can find our go to victimsandvillains.net, where you guys can find our reviews, our episodes, our social media, and most importantly, our suicide prevention resources.
Yeah, those are definitely important. I mean, seriously, and I'm glad that there's a podcast like yours that is out there representing that type of awareness. That's really, really great, and that's why it was really, really great to have you on the show.
Thank you guys for having me.
Yeah, we really enjoyed this, right?
Dude,
Yeah, everybody, you had a lot of good things to say.
Thanks for being on our show, man.
Yeah,
Seriously.
certainly.
No problem.
I'll definitely be looking for some collabs in the future. And hey, man, if you want to be on Collateral Gaming, hit me up.
Let us know.
So
Whatever.
speaking of which,
Well, this is another time to plug something awesome. We're doing a 48-hour game stream to raise money to get mental health
Ooh, nice.
resources into schools. And you guys, that is going to be February 21st through the 23rd, 2020 at twitch.tv/victims and villains.
Really? You know what? I will make sure that Ash and I will be there to watch that stream.
Yeah, definitely. I'd like to check that out as well.
yeah, we'll check definitely.
Like, donate and also make some donations,
And speaking
Yeah,
of
too.
Collateral Gaming, just a little shameless self-plug. This episode's already stretching long enough. Collateral Gaming is releasing our next, our holiday special, which is, our gift to you, the gift of Tommy Wiseau. We're doing the Room Tribute, the Flash game on Newgrounds.
I guess if you didn't have a room, reference there, we have one now.
Yeah. There we go.
That was really, what I could think of. I can't think of any Christmas themed games. So
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
It was kind of a stretch.
You
and
coulda- you
I
coulda
wanted
done-
to do that.
You could have done elf bowling. I mean, come on
Bowling.
now.
Oh my
Bowling.
god.
So that'll be at our indie game review, celebrating the holiday special, and then our next numbered episode will be the New Year. Dakota's very excited about it. It's Death Stranding.
Yep.
We've delayed it a little bit. If you didn't catch our past arcade game episode, we're actually pushing that into January, which gives me more time to play the game, and also kind of push our schedule forward a little bit. After Christmas, we'll be taking a short break along with Collateral Cinema. So definitely we'll be back and have a lot of content to look forward to on both ends. And guys, go follow Victims and Villains.
Definitely.
Go check out their podcast, and you have a YouTube channel as well, right?
We did, but we had a crisis happen, and we actually deleted it.
Okay.
Crisis. The antimatter evaporated our YouTube channel.
Oh,
Well,
damn.
you know what? Fuck YouTube and their corporate bullshit
that shit.
anyway.
Yeah,
Fuck you,
fucking
dude.
bullshit.
That's why I like the podcast market. But yeah, guys, definitely check us out on Apple Podcasts. Check us out on Spotify, Google Play, YouTube.
Just wherever else
else you get your podcast.
Yeah, wherever you get your podcasts. And also leave us a 5-star review for both Collateral Gaming and Collateral Cinema and Victims and Villains as well. Give them a 5-star review as well. And also check out our Patreons. We have exclusive content on there. We have full-length feature commentaries. And on Collateral Gaming, there's some Let's Plays on there, right?
Let's Plays. Well, I don't have the content uploaded yet. We have one free Let's Play that's out available on YouTube, but we actually have most of the other shit recorded. I just need to put it together.
Oh, okay.
But
It's
yeah,
one of those situations where we keep saying we're going to do something, nothing actually happens.
It's happening.
What about the short videos we did? Short movies.
Oh, that's right. We also have a short film coming out called Killing Night.
We got 2 of them.
And we got another movie in production now, right?
We've got Killing Night, which is in the editing process, and we have Paranoid, which we will be shooting in about a week or 2.
Yeah,
Something like
pre-production.
that. Yeah, it's in pre-production right now.
It's big in production right now, dude.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, so definitely look forward to that. We'll probably have that up on our YouTube channel.
Yeah, and if you are an indie movie maker and you have any movies, please let us know. Hit us up on Instagram or whatever. We all have social media accounts or Collateral Cinema. Hit us up and send us your movie.
hit us up
Yeah,
with your
we'll
feature.
do a review.
Hit us up with your own personal short.
Right. And that
Don't
goes
be
same thing with
embarrassed,
gaming. If you want to send us a game, send us a game, man.
Indie game developers, yeah.
And we will review that. So don't be shy. Just send it to us.
Yeah, just drop us a line. Collateral Cinema Movie Podcast at gmail.com or hit us up on the socials.
But yeah. Well, I guess that's all that needs to be said on that.
Right.
That being said,
I'm Bo Maddox.
I'm Robert Ortegon.
I'm Ashley Chancellor.
I'm Dakota Chancellor.
And I'm Captain Nostalgia.
Hell yeah.
This is Collateral Cinema, and we are out.
Out.
Wrap your shit.
Audi 5000.
Yeah. Check you later.
Andre 5000.
Maddox.
I'm Robert Ortegon.
I'm Ashley Chancellor.
I'm Dakota Chancellor.
This is Collateral Cinema.